Mr. Bozigian. I'm going to call this meeting to order, and due to a lack of a quorum, the meeting is recessed until 6:30. Thank you.
We're going to reconvene the meeting. City Clerk?
This is the roll call for the council and the authority. Council member, authority member Christ.
Present.
Johnson.
Present.
Mann.
Present.
Vice Mayor, Vice Chairman Smith. Mayor Chairman Paris.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's take item number CA1 out of order, and at this time I want to appoint Kitty Zato as the Chair of the Housing Authority.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Any cards? Do you have any cards on that?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. We do have one card.
I'm not surprised.
Michael Reeves.
Are you going to vote? It's housing authority. Sorry, I'm not.
Pardon me. Mayor Paris, council staff, I think we're talking about the disposition of strategy for the sale of single-family residences.
No, you're on the wrong one.
Is that correct, Jerry?
No, sir. We've moved CA1 to the front of the meeting.
Oh, okay.
So this is about the appointment to the Housing Authority, the chair.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. In a prior discussion, I mentioned that I thought that elected officials should hold positions on the commissions. And I realized that Councilman Chris is burdened with many commissions. He's on the air quality, and he's on the fair board, and the bus board, et cetera, and I understand he's not able. But we have other council people that could be chair of the council other than an appointee. And there's no aspersion on the deputy mayor. I just believe that any commission like that should be headed by someone that's an elected official. So in lieu of the deputy mayor being appointed, maybe we could appoint Councilman Mann or Vice Mayor Smith or Mayor Paris or Councilwoman Johnson to be chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other cards?
No, sir.
Any discussion? There's been a motion, there's been a second. Let's vote. It's unanimous. Mrs. Ato, do you want to convene the Housing Authority?
I will reconvene the Housing Authority meeting. City Clerk.
This is the roll call for the Housing Authority. Authority Member Christ.
Present.
Harvey. Present. Mann.
Present.
Vice Chairman Smith. Chairman Zetto.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Is Pastor Kerry Schmidt here? Oh, you're back there. Come on down, Kerry. Kerry from the Lancaster Baptist Church will be doing the invocation.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for your goodness to us. Thank you for your greatness. We thank you for a city council who wants to honor you and wants your wisdom and guidance. And God, you promised us in your word that we could have wisdom if we ask for it and if we would fear you. You said the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And you said you would give wisdom to those that ask in faith believing. And God, tonight I pray, my first prayer request for this city council is that you would give them wisdom. I know they want it. I know they need and desire your insight and your guidance. And you said if we would acknowledge you, if we would trust you, that you would direct our paths. In all ways, you would lead us and guide us. And I thank you for their work on behalf of my family and my church family, the good work that they do to make this valley a wonderful place to live. And I pray that you'd place your hand of blessing upon them, guide them, and direct them. We thank you most of all for the Savior that you gave us in the Lord Jesus Christ. And it's in his name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Ms. Harvey, you want to lead the pledge?
Yes, please join me as we honor our nation's flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have two presentations tonight. One is for Hayden Zimmerman from Quartz Hill High School, and the other is for Rish. You got to help me with that last name, but I'll be down in a second. And that's from Source, and that's the student of the month. I'll be right down. Is it civic?
The SOAR student's not here at this time.
I've been saved by the bell. I'll practice the name next week. Great, thank you. Hayden is a senior at Quartz Hill High School and is a three-time individual wrestling Golden Leg champion. He helped to lead his team to the Golden Leg Team Championship 3 of his 4 years at Quartz Hill High School. He took second place in the 2012 CIF Southern Section Finals and had a record of 43-9 for the 2012 season. Hayden is a 4-year member of the varsity team. That means you were a varsity when you were a freshman. Yeah. See, I can even count. That's terrific. And a member of the 2009 CIF championship team and the 2010 CIF finalist team. Hayden has been named to the All-Lake team 2 years in a row and has also been named as the Antelope Valley Press Wrestler of the Week. Hayden has been accepted to the University of Oregon, Cal State Bakersfield for academics, and he has been in contact with wrestling coaches from Cal Baptist University and schools in Virginia and North Carolina. You know, we got West Coast Baptist. Do we have a wrestling team, Carrie, or Carrie Lee? Okay. Actually, I don't think we do. Hayden has a cumulative GPA of 3.4 and plans on majoring in criminal investigation in college. Hayden is a member of the American Cancer Society Club at Quartz Hill High School. So that's how you got this award. And has volunteered his time working at the Relay for Life for the past 2 years. I'll see you there in a few weeks, won't I? Here we go. Your parents here? Yeah. Why don't you come on down and get a picture? Okay. Oh, and you get a $1,000 scholarship, too.
Oh,
Okay. You got it opened up. Got it. Okay, come on down and get a picture. Good. Yeah, you get to get in it, too. Okay. Here, get in the center. Hi. Got your thing? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor,
You got to help me say your name. It's Civignanum? Close enough, right? Okay. But it's Rish, right? Rishi. Okay. Hi, Rishi. I'm Rex. You know, SOAR is just the most phenomenal thing I think Antelope Valley has ever done. We are, the top 5%? Top 5% of high schools in the nation. I mean, wow. And they did that almost overnight, right? And to be the student of the month there is a significant achievement because those really are the kids doing incredible things. You were the superintendent's honor roll 4 years in a row, right? Class president. Which class?
Sophomore class.
Sophomore class, okay. Physics club, 11th and 12th grades. Vice president of the ASB, 10th and 12th grades. Vice president and president of Encourage STEM-related. What is that?
It's a club that we motivate kind of people. We motivate people to succeed.
Really?
Yeah, it's tied in with physics club. It's for encouragement of STEM-related activities. So,
That's terrific. And if to motivate these kids who are already supremely motivated, that's incredible. He volunteer with Antelope Valley Hospital Biomed Department. His goals are to major in engineering, bio, or mechanical. His career is to develop a new way to treat cancer. That was the magic word this month, wasn't it? Develop a new way to treat cancer and create artificial organs. He is the first-generation college student. Both math and physics have been significant classes for Rishi. And because they have to do this with his major, engineering, and have given him insight into what to expect in his chosen field. That is another remarkable thing about this high school. Almost everyone there, it's the first generation to go to college. And what's magnificent is every single one of them go. I mean, we should be so proud of that we created that school. Actually, other people created it for us here in Lancaster. And you also get a $1,000 scholarship.
Thank you.
Okay. And if your father would come back. Congratulations. That's the important one.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
right, especially at a city council meeting, it's such a big Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we excuse Vice Mayor Smith's absence this time.
Wait a second.
I'll second that.
Let's vote. It's unanimous.
Do we have to make a separate motion for the Housing Authority?
I don't even know why we do that. I mean, for the record, I should know.
Actually, it wouldn't hurt to take a separate action on that, but to answer the mayor's question, the reason you do that is if a council member is absent with 3 unexcused absences in a row, then they lose their position as an elected city council member.
Boy, do they need a lawyer if that happens. Okay.
We try to avoid the question.
All right. Is there a motion on the Housing Authority? Well, I can't do that. Kitty, you have to do that.
So moved. Let's wait till it goes back to.
Okay, you want to wait till Tuesday?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the consent calendars consist of items of routine business for which minimal or no discussion or special presentation is contemplated or required. These items may be acted upon as a whole with one motion, a second, and a single vote. If you desire to speak on an item or items on the consent calendar, you may fill out one speaker card for the consent calendar. You will be given 3 minutes to address your concerns before the agency or council takes action on the consent calendar. All speaker cards must be filled out and submitted prior to the consent calendar being called. This same rule applies if you wish to speak on other items on the agenda and non-agendized items at the end of the meeting. Following this process will allow us to conduct a timely and orderly meeting. Thank you. Any items to be removed?
When you get to the city side, you'll likely want to remove CC3 since it was not a unanimous vote last time. And I think there are a couple of council members who might have conflicts on the consent calendar as well.
CC2 for...
Yes, I'd like to accuse myself from CC2.
Okay. Ms. Sato, you want to take over the meeting?
Is there a motion to excuse Vice Mayor Authority Member Smith from the meeting?
I'm sorry, so moved.
A second?
Let's vote. All right. Do we have a motion and a second for the adoption of the Housing Authority regular minutes?
So moved. I'm sorry, I'll second that.
Let's vote. Okay, passes. Are there any items on the housing consent calendar to be pulled for discussion? Are there any speaker cards?
We have no speaker cards on the consent under housing.
Is there a motion and a second for the adoption of the housing consent calendar?
So moved.
I'll second.
Let's vote. Okay, that passes. We will now hear the staff report regarding HANB1 from the Housing Director, Elizabeth Brubacher.
Did we do HACC1 and HACC2 in conjunction?
Good evening, Housing Chair and Housing Authority members. On August 14, 2007, the Lancaster Redevelopment Agency approved the implementation of the Neighborhood Foreclosure Preservation Homeownership Program. The goal of the program is to reclaim vacant, abandoned properties for affordable housing, to strengthen blocks and neighborhoods by eliminating the blighting effects of vacant properties, and enforce the city codes and city building code requirements. On June 30, 2011, pursuant to the legislation to eliminate redevelopment agencies were not permitted to enter into agreements to sell property. On January 24, 2012, the Lancaster City Council adopted Resolution 12-08, assigning the housing functions of the former Lancaster Redevelopment Agency to the Lancaster Housing Authority. As soon as the listings to sell the properties were signed, the Housing Authority received multiple offers on several properties, which has prompted the subject staff report. The sale of the rehabilitated properties to homeowners is to help provide a better balance of homeowners to investors in the neighborhoods. Additionally, encouraging homeownership reinforced with the recording of affordability covenants, conditions, and restrictions, which assures homeownership for 45 years to workforce families. Please adopt Resolution Number HA03-12, approving a disposition strategy for the sale of single-family residences acquired by the Lancaster Redevelopment Agency and transferred to the Lancaster Housing Authority. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Are there any speaker cards?
Yes, we have two speakers. The first one is Don Venturo. Dan?
Good evening, Mayor Paris and City Council. Dan Venturoli, I'm the immediate past president of the Greater Antelope Valley Association of Realtors, one of the largest trade organizations in the Antelope Valley that services organized real estate. We have been working with Elizabeth Brubaker's department since 2007 and prior to that, and I was instrumental in a lot of the implementation in working with her with the real estate community. I don't think people really have a full understanding when you're driving through neighborhoods and you're in the field like I am on a day-to-day basis and sometimes in the evenings, that the neighborhoods that were targeted, that were used for a lot of these properties in terms of redevelopment, were neighborhoods that needed help in terms of blight and distress. And a lot of the properties that were purchased were properties that had permit issues, properties that were beyond rehabilitation to the private sector. What happened with a lot of those properties, and everything that was implemented worked through the real estate organizations. It was kept local in the Antelope Valley with agents. And once those properties were acquired, generally through a real estate agent or brokerage, they then in turn were rehabilitated by the city. And I have to say that the job that was done was beautiful in many ways. It started to create a catalyst that caused neighborhoods to flourish. And if you drive around certain neighborhoods today, and I can name three in particular, Trend, Mariposa, and the Low Tree neighborhoods, there is no question that because of these types of situations where houses were fixed up and rehabilitated, it changes neighborhoods, it changes feeling, it changes the way that people think and feel about their community, and it works. And it's a shame that redevelopment went away. It's a shame that the state had to do what they had to do where funding went away. But it's not a shame that the city still has the control to be able to implement that program, to be able to sell those properties, because there are many that are still available. And the continued support of the real estate community, and I'll be the first one to speak, you have it. They're working with the city to facilitate and to work through what needs to be sold, without the city being in control of it. Good luck with the state, good luck with the feds, and any housing authority outside of the local sector to take control and try to dispensate a lot of these properties. It's going to be a nightmare. It'll take years. I've worked with the Housing and Urban Development for the feds and even CalVet with the state of California. It doesn't work as effectively and as efficient as the Housing and Neighborhood Revitalization Department of the City of Lancaster, and I speak in favor of the resolution. Thank you very much.
Michael Reeves.
Excuse me. Mayor Paris, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen.
Actually, I'm not on the Housing Authority. You really want to address the chairwoman?
Pardon me, housing chair, housing members. I have a few concerns about HANB1, the strategy for the sale of single-family residences. One thing that concerns me is the properties will be marketed and sold to potential homeowners who agree to purchase the properties for appraised value. Now, in my neighborhood, originally one of the city-owned houses was going for $130,000. And now in the neighborhood, I checked with a realtor, and one of the houses is going for $99,000. And the median price of the houses in the neighborhood is about $65,000. So I don't have any idea how the city's going to be able to sell, no matter how nice the house looks, for inflated value of $30,000 more than the houses are worth in the neighborhood. Another thing that concerns me about this whole thing is that the property owner, it has to be occupied for 45 years. I don't know how many people are going to commit themselves to that type of arrangement for 45 years, even if they get a 30-year mortgage. As we heard, the Greater Antelope Valley Association of Realtors are going to be charged with helping us sell these houses. I think it would behoove us to maybe think in another strategy. I mean, if you want to get rid of the properties, you get rid of them in one swoop, or have a commercial realtor, because I don't see individuals going to these houses in mass to buy them up, particularly if they have to live in the house for 45 years, and also if the house is devalued $30,000 more than the houses in the neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Ms. Brubaker, I did have a question. What does happen with the 45 years? Is the city on the hook if somebody moves?
What takes place is when the property owner goes to sell the property that's currently in there for the 45 years, it is sold to another family or household that meets the same income requirements. So that's how it stays affordable for 45 years. It doesn't necessarily stay affordable with that one family. And then in the covenant conditions and restrictions, there's an equity sharing so that they are not kept at making a profit or being able to continue to move up into more expensive housing as their family grows. So we have the equity sharing, and then it remains affordable, but not necessarily with that first family.
Thank you. All right, is there any discussion?
I have a question. When they sell it for the appraised value, is the appraised value based upon that 45 years? Will that be taken into consideration?
No, it is sold for appraised value. They don't, it's just appraised value regardless of the CC&Rs. It's a requirement of California redevelopment law that it be sold for appraised value.
Is there such a thing anymore?
Or the California redevelopment law? Yeah, when we assume the assets of the former redevelopment, when the Housing Authority assumed the former assets of the redevelopment agency, we have to follow the California redevelopment law.
Do you have the authority to lower the price?
Generally, yes.
So if the appraised value comes back at 130, can you sell it for 129.5?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions, discussion? Is there a motion and a second?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Let's vote. Passes. I will now turn the meeting back over to Mayor Chairman Paris.
Thank you. We'll now hear the staff report on SANB1 from Barbara Boswell.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I am before you to request that you approve our recognized obligation payment schedule. I've been before you requesting you to adopt an initial recognized obligation payment schedule, a draft recognized obligation payment schedule, and now a recognized obligation payment schedule. All of these iterations of obligation payment schedules are a result of AB X126, which was the legislation that dissolved our redevelopment agency. The recognized obligation payment schedule for the period July 1st through December 31st, 2012 would normally be presented to the Oversight Board for approval. And this approval needs to take place before April 15th in order for the county to distribute funds to the successor agencies by June 1st. At this point in time, there is not a quorum of the Oversight Board that has been identified yet because the County of Los Angeles has yet to identify their Oversight Board members. So we are bringing this forward to you as the successor agency to have you approve the schedule so that we are not delayed in receiving our distribution of property tax revenues on June 1st. Your action does not create any fiscal impact. It simply is the process which we need to follow in order to receive the property tax revenue that will be due to us on June 1st. I am available to answer any questions you might have of me.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Any speaker cards?
No, sir.
Is there a motion?
I'll move we approve SANB1.
I second.
Any discussion? Let's vote. It's unanimous. Let's hear the staff report on SANB2 from Barbara Boswell.
Do we have any speaker cards?
No speaker cards.
Oh, you want to waive the...
Can move we waive?
Okay, thank you. You're off the hook. Any discussion?
Motion to approve SANB1 or 2.
I second.
Let's vote. It's unanimous. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the City Council, successor agencies, Finance, Power Authority, regular minutes of March 13th, 2012?
So moved.
Second?
I second.
Any speaker cards?
No, sir.
Let's vote. Wait a minute, I wasn't here, was I? No, I was here.
Yes, you were.
Yeah.
It's been a busy month, what can I say? Okay, we're going to remove CC5 from the consent calendar, CC3 and CC2. Is there a motion for the remaining items?
I'll move we approve the consent calendar as currently comprised.
Excuse me, Mayor. We do have one speaker card for the consent calendar.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And who is the speaker card?
Michael Reeves.
Mayor Paris, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen. CC10 is increased estimate revenues in the amount of $1.5 million from the sale of neighborhood stabilization program homes. And apparently they want to appropriate salaries in the amount of $106,000 and expenditures in the amount of $1.4 million. I have a copy of the attachment to this, and it doesn't tell me a whole lot. We're dealing with $1,500,000, and the attachment mentions that salaries are $67,000, and all the benefits associated with the salaries come to $106,000. And the other expenses are $1.4 million. I think it should be tabled, and we need to have a more detailed accounting of how we're going to spend up $1.5 million. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion? Let's vote. It's unanimous. CC item 2, I believe you need to,
Yes, I recuse myself from that.
does she need to abstain or recuse herself?
Yeah.
But if,
Yeah.
Okay,
but I think you need to state a reason too.
Oh, I recuse myself because the university has received $185.50 for services that we've given to the citizens for CPR and Cooking with Class programs. And I have an interest with the university.
I would say you do.
Financial interest, I should say.
Okay, is there a motion?
Move to approve CC2.
Second?
I'll second that.
Let's vote. It's unanimous with one absence and one abstention. Could somebody... Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we have CC item 3, which is the City Council repealing ordinance number 975 relating to the employment of undocumented workers. Why is that back up?
Because I voted no.
It was not unanimous at the last meeting.
Oh, so you have to do it twice?
This is the second reading of it.
You'd think after 4 years they'd figure this out, wouldn't you? Okay, any discussion? Any speaker cards?
No, sir.
Is there a motion?
I'll move that we adopt CC3, adopt ordinance number 975.
Is there a second?
I second.
Let's vote. And it's 3-4. I mean, 3-1, which makes 4. I really should have graduated from high school. Moving on, CC item number 5. I'm recusing myself. I have property in the area. My wife has property in the area. We're pretty close. Okay.
Do we have a motion and a second for CC5?
I'll move that we adopt CC number 5.
I second.
Do we have any speaker cards?
No, sir.
Let's vote. Did someone get the mayor, please? Let the record reflect that the mayor's returned.
Moving on to new business. We'll hear from the Finance Director, Barbara Boswell.
Do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, sir, we have one.
Good evening, Mayor Paris and council members. The item before you at this time is introduction of ordinance number 977 related to local hiring. And I'm actually going to ask that Kathy Petrosky, our purchasing agent, do the presentation. She's the one that has worked closely with our city attorney's office in drafting this ordinance that is being brought forward to you at the request of the council in order to help support employment in Lancaster. So.
Good evening, Mayor Paris, council members. In December, council adopted a resolution declaring the need for a local hiring ordinance, and tonight we introduced that ordinance. The intent of the ordinance is to increase employment opportunities for Lancaster residents and to reduce the need for local residents to commute to the LA area. This ordinance will allow the city's construction funds to support local residents by increasing the availability of employment here in Lancaster and to support our local businesses by increasing local spending. The city will require that contractors hire local residents and subcontractors as a condition of being awarded a public works construction contract. The target is 50% of the contractor and subcontractor workforce be made up of Antelope Valley residents. The contractor will submit with his bid package a form attesting that his workforce and the workforce of any subcontractor either meet the 50% goal or that he made a good faith effort to meet that goal. The local hiring preference will not apply to contracts when the funding would be jeopardized, such as with federal grant funding. And if you have any questions or areas of concern, I'd be happy to address them.
Any questions?
I think this is a great way of us proving that we find ways of creating jobs for our local residents, without a doubt. I do have one question, though, is how do we keep track with these companies that they are abiding by the agreement?
We have
with our
a
residents?
we'll have a monitoring program in place where staff will go out and monitor the records that the contractors keep on file. The contractors will be responsible for monitoring the subcontractors.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any speaker cards?
We have one speaker card. Michael Reeves.
Mayor Paris, council, ladies and gentlemen, I support this local ordinance for local hiring. I remember yesterday I was in a donut shop and one of our fellow citizens was saying that her husband's been out of work.
MB2.
And he went over to one of the solar projects as required by the job, and only a handful of people working on the solar project were local residents. Everyone else was out of town.
That is a 2, right?
Even though I support this ordinance for local hiring, there are a few things in the contract that I have questions about. Of course, I read it. Section 3.36.030, requirements for contractors. Every contractor submitting a bid to the city for public works contract shall, quote, agree to make a good faith effort to hire qualified individuals who are local residents in sufficient numbers. I think that terminology should be strengthened. I don't want them to use good faith. I want them to do it. You shall make an effort to hire. You're not that you have a good faith. You shall hire locally. Another thing in the contract, I'm disturbed on the section 3.36.020, the definitions of a residence. Now, I understand we're going to monitor these people to make sure that the people are actually local residents. We're asking for documentation as rent lease agreements, utility bills, state driver's license, identification card. Well, anybody knows you can go to any motel in this town, establish residence, and go to the DMV, get some kind of documentation. Another thing that disturbs me, I thought this applied only to Lancaster. And we have all these zip codes, and we're including people in the Antelope Valley. I think the ordinance should apply specifically to our city, not every other city in the Antelope Valley and in Kern County. So if it were me, I would send this ordinance back to the drawing board to strengthen it before we approve it. Otherwise, this ambiguity will certainly be tested by some of the employers. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Just a comment, Mr. Reeves. Thank you, first of all, for what you said. But regarding the Solar City, I know that I have a communication with them constantly, and they do hire a lot of our local residents for their company, and we're very proud that they do as such. So I just wanted to make sure we made that clear. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
I do have a comment. At the request of the mayor, we have went to all the different agencies, the JPAs that we've done business with or do business with, and all those agencies are now using the local hiring ordinance that we've put through. And at the AVTA today, we also sent a letter to both of our congressmen asking them for the removal of the requirement if it's federally funded. So we should probably do the same thing here. But this is a great ordinance, and it's a great step. To answer some of your questions, Mr. Reeves, it's a work in progress. We have to work around a lot of the stuff that's out there. We have to work and make sure that because we have a lot of federal laws that we have to do, and a lot of our workers and a lot of our contractors get contracts that are in Los Angeles. We don't want them excluded from doing business in Los Angeles. So it's kind of a balance act that we're trying to work on. So I'll move that we approve ordinance number 997 or introduce it.
I second.
Let's vote. Unanimous. Thank you. We'll now hear a report on new business item 2 from the planning director, Brian Ludicky. Any speaker cards?
Yes, we have 4.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Mayor Paris, members of the City Council, the item that's before you is the authorization to retain environmental science associates for the preparation of the environmental impact report for the Ecolution Materials Recovery Project. As you will recall, on February the 14th, the city entered into a materials recovery and conversion facility agreement and exclusive negotiating agreement for this project. One of the permitting requirements for this is the preparation of an environmental impact report. In going over this particular project, staff felt that environmental science associates, because it has been involved in similar types of projects throughout the state of California, would be an appropriate choice for this. We did receive from them proposals that would cover 3 representative sites. As we have noted to you, there has not been a final decision yet made by the applicant on a site location. However, we felt that these would be good in giving a range of potential costs. We expect that it would be somewhere on the order of $419,000 to $425,000. The applicant would bear the cost for this. They would also pay the city fees as far as staff time for the review. In addition to this, the applicant would be required to provide indemnification to the city in the event there were any legal challenges following the completion of the process. We are recommending that you provide this authorization, and we feel that once a final site is picked, that we can finalize the costs more. But given the timelines that we need to meet for this project, it is imperative that we have the authorization to move forward. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Any questions?
No.
Just so we're clear, we're not paying for this. The city's not paying for it.
The city is not paying for this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Will you announce the speaker cards?
Our first one is Mike Harrison.
Good evening, City Council. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. How are
Thank you.
My name is Mike Harrison. I've been a longtime resident of the City of Lancaster. The city environment are important to me, so it's naturally got my attention. I read the article in the AV Press and looked into the staff report. I guess my main question tonight sounds like, we just rebutted that, sounds like the City of Lancaster is giving this company money. Whether they're fronting the money or giving a loan, they're using taxpayer dollars to fund a private company. That concerns me. Does the city generally fund this type of report to private companies? If this incredible company proposing a multi-million dollar facility, why do they need taxpayer dollars to get started? There's not a lot of info available on Ecolutions. I couldn't find any project that they've done anywhere else. Maybe I got it wrong, but it sounds like a big risk to me. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Reeves.
Mayor Paris, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last time I'll be up tonight, so you can take a breath. The idea of a facility like this is a good idea. And I'm sorry that we didn't have a public hearing like I recommended before we approved it. But now we have the cart before the horse. We have to get an environmental impact study on this. And I'll give credit to the firm that has been contracted out. They've done a really good job of detailing how they're going to spend the money. So that's the positive thing. They also revealed some things in here that I didn't know about that might affect the environment. Like, for example, While processing all the waste would occur within the building, processed recyclables could be stored outside the waiting to be transported to another facility. That kind of bothers me because I don't want a garbage dump somewhere in town. Another thing that concerns me is this $420,000 that all costs associated with the environmental report will be reimbursed by the project developer. What if it doesn't pan out? What if we can't have it? It's going to adversely affect the environment. How are we going to retrieve this money from the developer? Are we stuck? Going back, I think that before we go any further with this project, we ought to have an open hearing for the public to come down here and speak with you, speak with the people that presented it, and then move forward with this other thing, the environmental report. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
David Aber.
Good evening, council, staff, and citizens. I've got a couple of questions and comments. I'd like to get the 3 sites identified as soon as possible that are being considered for this project. Ecolution's a new company. I think they've only been around for 6 months. I think they got formed about 6 months ago. My information is correct. And that concerns me somewhat. No track record. Project's a great idea. I've been an advocate of green projects and environmentally safe projects for 30 years. And I'm glad to see that we're out in front for a change, with the laws changing in 2020. But also, I've got another issue with bringing other people's garbage up here. I think we should be more concerned with taking care of the valley, Lancaster, and the Antelope Valley. I don't have a problem with, but bringing garbage from other areas is, I think there's sanitation issues and so forth and so on, and I think these are things that should be looked into. Thank you for your time.
Scott Pelka.
Well, looking at this, seeing as Ecolutions is a new startup company, why are we loaning them $420,000 to do an EIR statement for property that doesn't exist, for one thing? Number two, less than a couple of years ago, wasn't the city of Lancaster doing incentives for them to buy cars locally to benefit the local dealers? That's sort of almost in the realm of a conflict of interest to do the same thing. Also, since the mayor seemed to have accepted money from Mr. Fuller for some of his election campaigns, that tends to run into a little bit of a conflict of interest there also. And it also seems to me that where else has the city of Lancaster provided money in front to do EIR studies? I mean, it seems like the last EIR study the city of Lancaster got involved with was the Quartz Hill Walmart, and we all know how that failed. So that's kind of all I wanted to say. Good luck.
Any other?
No, sir.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I'd like to address a couple things that Mr. Reeves, that you've said several times now that a public hearing, we did hold a public hearing on February 14th in regards to it. That's number one. We're doing this again today, and the EIR is a public forum for that. So the misnomer that you're trying to say that we haven't done this correctly, we have done it correctly, and we are having public hearings. And Mr. Abers, the other people's garbage, the Waste Management has approved, or the County of Los Angeles has already approved 1,700 additional tons of trash that comes up here that has not been mined. So regardless of what we do, What we're saying is we would like to mine that trash before it goes into our landfills permanently. So there's a couple misnomers that are that. Hopefully it answered some of your questions. Thank you.
Yeah, Councilmember Christ. Yeah, I just want to go on the record. I think there may be some people that may be not up to speed in regards to what's taking place in landfills here in Southern California. And ultimately, that trash was coming here, and probably under the same circumstances today in regards to recycling. So I think we're taking one aggressive step beyond what was already mentioned, and the fact that I think Mr. Aber said that we're actually going to be ahead of the game, and that's correct. Because I can tell you that what Waste Management has every intent to do, and that's the reason why they bought the landfills here 8 to 10 years back. They bought the landfill in Palmdale as well as here in Lancaster, because they could see the future that the landfills in the Los Angeles metropolitan area were going to ultimately be closed. So there was value, I guess, so to speak, in taking trash out of Los Angeles and bringing it up here to Lancaster. So actually, I see us taking a real aggressive, positive step, because this way here, the citizens here are actually going to be benefactors, because there's no other way that anybody here is going to be able to stop that trash being brought up out of Los Angeles. So you might want to do some homework there, maybe do some studying up.
One other thing that was said, and it's said quite often in regards to this, that it's a new company. The reason that it's a new company is because the City Council requested that it become a new company. So if they do have any, this is such a new technology and a great technology that's going forward, we would like the sales tax dollars from it. So when they build a new plant, regardless of where they build it, the City of Lancaster will receive the sales tax from it. So that's why this is a new company that's a derivative from a company that's been in force for over a decade. So if that helps you.
Anything else? So why are we lending them the money?
I'm sorry?
Are we lending them money?
No, we're going to have a reimbursement agreement with them, and they'll be paying for the EIR. We will not be paying money.
Just for the record, it's my recollection, and somebody might need to correct me, has the city not done that historically in the past with an EIR?
Yes, that would be similar to what the city's done, which is the developer pays for the EIR. The city is involved to make sure it's objective in terms of managing, picking the consultant, et cetera.
You know, it's just for the record, isn't that usually just protocol following California state law that the city oversees that? Because what I think's, again, what may be misunderstood here, and I'm going back to my planning commission days, that this is not out of the ordinary of what any other city may or may not do historically following California law.
That's correct. California law does require that the city be responsible for the preparation of the EIR and not the developer. And so the arrangements that are usually worked out in what we've historically done here is the city will contract with the EIR preparer and then charge the cost of that back to the applicant, or in this case, the company.
Thank you.
Although I want to be clear, just because we've done things in the past doesn't dictate how we do things now. I never want that to be the standard. If somebody comes...
No, it's based on California law.
Excuse me. Okay? I don't think it matters to me what we've done in the past. I don't want you confining yourselves to how we've done things in the past. If this is the first time we've ever done it, I'm actually happier about that than if it's something that we're just following suit that what we've done for 20 years. I do agree that we have to keep it within the confines of the state law. But looking for what the city's done in the past as presidential value is simply not of significance to me. Okay? And when I hear people being concerned about that, I'm afraid the staff starts to become concerned about that. And obviously, it has to pass muster with the city attorney. Okay? Good. Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll move that we approve NB2.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Let's vote. Okay, passes unanimously. I'm going to move the closed session item up, and we'll be back to finish the meeting after the closed session. We're in recess.
with a particular area of the city, and it really is a great program to really show folks how they can take control of their lives and be healthier through just eating healthier and exercising and stuff. But I think one of the most exciting things is the partnership that's involved and how much Lancaster School District and their new superintendent, Michelle Bowers, is really going to get behind it and really try to change not just the menus at schools, but education of kids and how they should eat and how they should exercise. And Kaiser said, quite honestly, the reason we got the grant as opposed to other places is because this community already has the capacity to work together better than any of the other communities that applied, what we've already done. And I made the comment, and Councilmember Mann was there and made some very eloquent comments as well, too. This is the first council we can remember in either city that's really taken health on as an issue. We've had individual members like Mayor Emeritus Hearns, who is very passionate, but this council has truly taken it on with wellness homes, impact homes, and creating partnerships with AV Partners for Health, and it's making a difference. So it was really a good day in that regard.
Good day for the City of Lancaster.
Absolutely.
City Clerk, could you do your announcement, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time for you to address the City Council on items that are not on the agenda. You'll find speaker cards at the back of the council.
2, the nomination and appointment of Steve English to the Lancaster Museum and Public Arts Foundation. Do we have any speaker cards?
No, sir.
Do we have a motion and a second?
I'll move that we nominate and appoint Steve English to the Lancaster Museum and Public Art Foundation Board of Directors.
I second.
Let's vote. It's 3-0 with Mayor Paris absent and Councilman Smith gone. Do we need to excuse Mayor Paris's absence now? Okay. Let's see. Council comments, agency comments. Kitty?
No.
You did a great job today.
Thank you.
Mr. Mann?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, we're going to adjourn the meeting to Tuesday, April 24th, 2012 at 5 o'clock. Thank you.
Residents and businesses of our community experience the patriotism and support of those who serve and protect our liberties. Young people can see real-life heroes, and this is important. People from their own neighborhoods who have chosen a life of service. These are our sons and daughters, friends. Veterans can stop and reminisce, and family members bursting with pride can stop in front of their relatives' banners and snap a photo. The banner program currently displays 52 banners along the length of the boulevard, honoring servicemen and women from the various branches of the U.S. military. The program has been well received by local businesses and the public. Coupled with the Aerospace Walk of Honor, it adds yet another reason to honor our hometown heroes, to visit the boulevard to honor those hometown heroes. That being said, the reason for our gathering here today is to pay tribute to the life behind the banner. Whether it was in Iraqi freedom or Operation